Hello everyone and welcome to another custom figure showcase, and today we've got something very different because some of you may have seen this already, or at least known that it was coming, because I teased this on my Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, but it's actually got a hell of a lot more attention than I was expecting. But this is a 3D printed BBC2 Ident Dalek from Doctor Who Night in 1999. Now obviously those of us of the 90s generation and before will recognise this, but for the benefit of those who were not around at that time or may not have seen it before, in the 90s the BBC idents, i.e. the things that appeared between the channels, had very different versions. They did many different versions over the years. More commonly sort of known ones were the sort of slightly artistic ones where there was a number 2 that had some paint splashed over it, or one that had you know, sparks ricocheting off around it and things like that. But every now and again they would do ones that were more sort of specific to something and had a bit more personality to it. And when Doctor Who Night happened in 1999, they did a special Dalek ident, which I'm hoping, copyright pending, I can put up on the screen now just to give you a brief clip of what it was. So it was a remote control number 2 that was stylized to look like a Dalek. The original version is worth pointing out here that was actually auctioned off for charity, and through posting this on Twitter it has been confirmed that it does still exist. I'm not quite sure who has it now, but it is still an actual thing, so really nice to know that the original ident still is still out there and still exists. But it was one of those ideas that I thought it would be very, very strange to see it done, but it would certainly be something that's very unique, and I know a few other people I'd chatted to had considered doing it over the years, and I think I have seen some people make a custom version of it before, but I thought, well, now I'm getting into my 3D printing, I wonder how easy it would be to make, and here are the results. Obviously I've done this turntable so you can see it from all angles, but I'm going to take it off the turntable now just to have a look, because there is at least one little extra feature that it does have that I'd like to show you all. Now, as you can see here, I brought in a 375 12th Doctor figure to give you an idea of the scale. Obviously, it's probably a bit smaller than people were expecting, but the reason I did it that sort of scale was because, firstly, I didn't know if this print would be successful, so I wanted to do it in a smaller scale in order to make sure that I didn't waste too much material. But the nice thing about it, again, is even in this smaller scale, the smaller I tend to print, at least with my printer, I tend to find I design things and then I put a lot of complex designs in them and then I try and print them, and I find that my printer can't print them that smaller scale. So I'm pleased to know that it did manage to print it in this particular scale, because it means that if I do want to make a bigger one, which I would definitely love to do, ideally I would love to have a full remote control version, but I don't know if that's ever going to be possible, but maybe a 5-inch version I might do one day. It means that I can scale up the design that I've done, and obviously it will look the part. So in terms of features on this, obviously in the advert its head moves, and I'm pleased to say I've managed to replicate that on this version. The head does turn the full 360 degrees. As you can see as well, obviously we've had the stylized eye stalk as well. Now the gun boxes, the gun ball and the arm ball don't move on this version. Again, it is something that I would have liked to have done, and I might try to do it for a larger scale version, but they don't move in the ident, just as, you know, the eye stalk doesn't move up and down as well. So just having the head being able to move is enough in terms of it being screen accurate, as it were. But no, I'm really pleased with how it's come out. It's really, the designs come really well together. I managed to actually reuse the plunger. Is actually reused from one of my extending ones that I've made in the past. So it was nice to be able to reuse that. But other than that, it's just, you know, it's just simple shapes and things that I've done on Tinkercad, just, you know, learn by doing, really. The number 2 template was actually simultaneously the most difficult bit and the easy bit, because it looks like it, you know, to think, oh, how am I going to do that number 2 template? That's going to be difficult. But all I ended up doing actually was finding work out what font was used, sans serif I think it was, make a template version and then turn it into an STL and just extend it lengthwise so it had a bit of width to it, and everything else around it was just so many shapes and things like that that was then printed out. It really was very simple, but yeah, it's a really nice little piece to have, because as I said, I know I have heard of other people making these before, and I have I know I have seen other people doing sort of smaller versions and you know, big card versions made out of card and other things like that, but it is definitely one of those designs that I don't think is particularly widespread in terms of an actual model. So it's nice to be able to sort of do this 3D printed version, and of course I will be putting the files for this up on my Thingiverse for anyone who wants to print and make their own one, because I certainly think it's going to be popular. But at the time of recording this video, at least, it will obviously be worth checking out my Thingiverse. There will be a link in the description and or pinned comment, because it might be up by the time you watch this. But at the time of recording and immediately after this upload, the file probably won't be available. Files, I should say, won't be available for maybe about another week. But the reason being for that is because I'm going to try and adapt this design into a new series version as well. Just, I don't know if it's going to be possible. I think I can do it, because it wouldn't be that difficult to do. And I've also considered that I might do a Dead Planet version, or, you know, an early 60s version, because all I've got to do is actually just remove the slats from this design. That's pretty much all I'd have to do. But yes, the files will be available. If they're not currently available, if they are currently available, sorry, there will be a link in the pinned comment and or description. If they are not currently available, they will be coming soon. Worry not, because as I said, I think this is going to be very popular amongst the fans, especially those of us of an older generation who remember watching this on television. But that brings to a close another custom figure showcase. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot, and be sure to description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation and you can get involved. There's exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. And just before anybody asks, the mention of figure animation, yes, I might use this to recreate the ident in future. We will see. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.